Hey there, welcome into Main Street Living. I am Danielle Alvari.
Hey guys, I'm Quincy Carr, and it looks like you have this brightness about you. You're celebrating another trip around the sun. I see.
Oh, a little bit less, a little less bright every year, actually. Just kidding. No, it was really good. Thank you so much for remembering, Quincy. Yeah. Birthdays, I'm 30 now. We're getting up there now, but I still celebrated big. I played some basketball. I went to the spa and big dinner, and I ended with a cinnamon roll. I know it's kind of an unorthodox, but let's be honest, that's not a breakfast food. All right,
Well,
people, that's a dessert. I have cupcakes in the fridge still. I have lots of lovely people who sent me stuff. So I'm really, really blessed.
yeah, you got a lot going on, but I've never heard of someone going out and playing basketball. Like
Yeah, woke
that's
up
pretty
early, hit the
dope.
court.
Well, you know what? The best part is you are enjoying life. You woke up to see another day, and
Yeah.
obviously we got another great show today. We're talking next level cancer treatment. We got a new Black History Museum down in Southern Arizona, and Shining Light Foundation. They have some breathtaking murals we're going to check out.
Absolutely. We also have an exciting history quiz bowl to talk about, history lovers, a documentary filmmaker to hear from. But first, if you thought football season was over, you are mistaken. We take things indoors next on Main Street Living.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. You know, Danielle, there are always mixed emotions when the Super Bowl ends. And no matter which team wins, similar to my Cowboys, the NFL season is over. Okay. But
season was over a while ago. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. But luckily for many football fans, the indoor football season is just getting started.
That's right. And our next guest was voted Indoor Football League Coach of the Year and Executive of the Year in 2021. And his team, the Rattlers, were voted the IFL Franchise of the Year. Please welcome to Main Street Living, Kevin Guy.
Morning.
Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey,
yeah,
Kevin.
thank you for having me.
So the Rattlers, they've been the top indoor team over your tenure as head coach in both arena football and then now in the Indoor Football League in the past 4 seasons. What can the fans kind of expect from the team in 2022?
Well, they can expect us to compete for a championship. We do a really good job of recruiting here. We feel like we put a great roster together. This roster is always evolving. Players are coming and going. Sometimes they get picked up. During my era, we've lost 54 players to the NFL and many other leagues. So, this league is an opportunity league, and these guys get a chance to come here and continue to develop and get quality film.
Yeah, Kevin, you were talking about, having some, players that have come and go. Like, who are some of the standout players from last season and, as well as some of the newcomers to look out for?
Well, Dylan Winfrey, he had a breakout year last year. He's been a very solid player for us the last couple of years. But last year, he came out and earned the defensive MVP of the, defensive player of the year for the league. Led the league in interceptions. Drew Powell, our quarterback, was the MVP, at the quarterback position on the offensive side. We had about 8-9 players, I believe, that made the all-league team. So, that's a testament to, what our player personnel department is doing with recruiting. Our coaches developing the players, and then obviously our players have to go make the plays on the field.
Right. But what, is a great part about sports is the fans, and the Rattlers fans are known to be the loudest or the wildest in the league. They're in the snake pit. So how influential are they to the success of this team?
Well, they've certainly helped us build, a great home field advantage. Now, we got a very rabid fan base. I always kind of compare it to the 16th hole out there at the Phoenix Open, So, it's a party at our games, and they've created this culture and this atmosphere where it's very tough for the visiting teams to come in and play. I believe the last 2 regular seasons we've went undefeated at home. Regular season standpoint, it's a very tough place to play, and they've helped us become one of the hardest place to come in and get a win.
The party starts in 2022 for the season on March the 19th against the Duke City Gladiators. And this game will be televised on YurView in Arizona. In fact, this season, all Rattlers home games will be televised on YurView Cox Channel 4 in Arizona. So, Coach, what's the most exciting thing about getting this season started?
Well, we kind of, we lost the championship game last year, so we kind of get that off. We kind of move on from that. It's been a tough off season, evaluating that, and it still comes up in your head all the time. But we're excited to get this year going. Just because we lost the championship last year doesn't mean that we didn't have a successful season. Our players, did a great job to put us in a position to play for the championship. But this year, it's the same goal. I mean, we're trying to win a championship. We would like to win it on our home field there at the Snake Pit, and so we're excited about that opportunity. But we also got a lot of new players coming in that we're excited about, and I'm excited to see what kind of hand we've been dealt and what we got to work with this year. But as always, we feel very strong about our talent pool on our roster, and it's really going to come down to how quickly we can become a team and work together to try to achieve those goals.
Nice.
Well, it sounds like you put together a really talented and fun team to watch. So it's no surprise you guys have so many fans. What can you tell us about the Rattler Rewards program and your exciting new app you guys are launching for the fans this season?
Yeah, so we're coming out with a new app. It's created a lot of new inventory for us, but also, I think it's going to be very fan friendly to our fan base, because we are going to have a rewards program, and the fans are going to get rewarded for doing different things that they can win prizes, from the team. So we're excited about that. That should be getting launched, I believe in the next week, and it's going to, and it's also, there's going to be some integration with the tickets too. So as we grow this partnership with our app partners, we're going to be able to communicate with our fan base. We're going to be able to know when fans check in, when they're at their seats, at their games. So we're excited about all the above.
Yeah. And speaking of growth, the Indoor Football League is expanding with new franchises in Las Vegas and in Columbus in 2023. Why are you excited about the future of the league?
We're really excited about this new partnership, new member of the team, the IFL, with Bill Foley and his group. The Las Vegas Golden Knights bought a franchise, and they're going to be called the Las Vegas Nighthawks. And really strong ownership group. It starts there. It always starts at the top. They've hired a great head coach. And he's done a great job of putting together. Mike Davis is the name of the head coach, but he's done a great job of putting together a great roster. And I see them coming in and competing right away and having a very competitive team.
That's good.
We know there's a lot of diehard football fans in the country, so I'm sure they're excited to get in on this. So remind us again, when are the players reporting for preseason, and how can people watch in Arizona and get tickets?
Sure. So the players are reporting March 1st. They will come in for a player orientation, and then March 2nd they have their physicals, and we hit the field March 3rd. We have a very short training camp because our first home game is March 19th, as you said earlier, against the Duke City Gladiators. But we're very excited about the players finally getting in town. Some of them, have been sticking their head in the door already, coming by the office, say hello. Some of them love to come to town early and get to go see their friends before the season starts and stuff, where they get settled in. But training camp. There's a lot of hours that they're going to have to put in there. But to get tickets, you go to azrattlers.com, or you could call our ticket office as well and get tickets there. But we have a very loyal fan base. Again, we're excited about 2022 and what that's going to bring for us this season.
Go get them, Coach.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kevin. We appreciate you getting us excited for the season.
Yeah, we appreciate you, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely, we can all get in on the action. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
All right. Very exciting if you are a football fan. If you're a fan of art, though, next we get to view history as art right here on Main Street Living.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, there are a lot of issues in the world these days, and those things we all notice. But, Danielle, only a few people actually roll up their sleeves and do something about these issues.
That's right. And Gizette Knight is one of those doers. We've had the pleasure of having her on Main Street Living before. The Shining Light Foundation she started has commissioned a series of stunning murals in cities across the country to educate the public about prominent Black Americans. Let's take a look.
This project is inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, so we tried to put a Black Lives Matter street mural in the street, and the city denied it. So the community wanted to see representation of themselves, so we decided to paint 28 murals representing the 28 days in Black History Month and make it educational. As we were doing research for this project, we figured out, when I say we, I mean my team, figured out there was a lot that we didn't know about Black history. We wanted to know if there were other areas that was experiencing that and wanted to be involved with the educational project. And so we just ventured out to different cities, and we first teamed up with the Dallas Independent School District, and they said that they loved the idea and they definitely wanted to bring it. Then we went to Compton and then Atlanta Public Schools, so it just kept blossoming. So the difference with the murals this year is we teamed up with the school districts, and so we're having the students write 85 essays in total, and we're going to take those essays and attach them to the mural via QR code. So let's just say an individual is standing in front of the mural, let's say like Tommy Smith, they don't know who Tommy Smith is, they can hover their phone over the QR code and the student's essay will pop up and inform them about the contributions of Tommy Smith. This project definitely took a lot of work. We started this project last year, 2021. We started it, I would say, back in December. This year, we started the project back in June. So we had to reach out to different school districts, and we understand there's board meetings. And so it was really tedious with getting the project up and running this year because we're including more cities than it would be just Phoenix. So, but it was a fun project. I love interacting with different cities, seeing their rules and, you know, the different policies that they have and working together to bring this project to life. So definitely thank you to those officials in the different cities that we worked with, that we contacted. Thank you to the artists. Especially thank you, a big special thank you to Microsoft for funding this project. And we just look forward for what the future is going to hold. Some of the positive things that we've seen with this project, I can tell you a story. One of our artists' name is Jason B. Gay. He was painting the Matthew Henson and Betsy Coleman mural. And it was a young man that was riding his bike, and he was going home, and then he saw the mural, and so he stopped. And then he came over to the mural, and he just looked up. And I went to him, and I said, you know, do you know who these people are? And he said, no. I said, did you know these are our people? And he said, wow. And then he just stood there and he said, can I just look at this? And that translated to me, can I just take this in? And I just knew from there, you know, he just knew more possibilities were available for him. And so for me, just seeing the reaction from the community and the kids, it's very important to have representation of themselves so they can see the possibilities of what they can be, and it's not limited. My goal for this project is to continue to paint these murals in different cities and collaborate with more schools. And overall, what I would love to do is establish a scholarship fund for all the students that's participating in writing the essays. And hopefully we could pay for their books, or even in the future pay for their full tuition to college or university of their choice. So if people would like more information about the project or they want to donate, they could go to our website, which is www.shining-light.org, or they could go to our social media, which is Shining Light FND.
Wow, Danielle, like such a sense of pride to see art on this level, especially engaging the onlookers with a QR code to read more about people on the murals.
I know everything's gotten so high tech, even art. And I just love that they're doing something about representation because I really believe if you see it, you can be it. So good on them for sure.
Absolutely. Now you can find more about Gizette and the Shining Light Foundation on their website, shining-light.org.
That's right. And coming up next, we are visiting with a documentary filmmaker. So don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, I'm sure you've heard the saying, if we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it, right? In fact, that's one reason why it's important to reflect on situations from our past, even when they are painful.
That's right. Our next guest has produced and directed a documentary that digs deep into one of our country's true tragedies. Please welcome to the show, David Bellino. David, thanks so much for joining us on Main Street Living.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you produced and directed a documentary called America's Deadliest Rock Concert, The Guest List, about the Station nightclub fire that happened in Rhode Island in 2003. Can you give us a reminder kind of what happened?
So on the night of February 20th, 2003, about 460 people attended a great white show at a small rundown venue called The Station in West Warwick, Rhode Island. After the concert began, literally just seconds after the band took the stage, a pyrotechnics display essentially engulfed the entire nightclub. Fire caught on the foam, on the side of the walls and the ceiling. And within about 90 seconds, 100 people were trapped and ultimately died and were killed in the fire. And the years after that, in the aftermath, through the legal and the emotional pain, suffering, even to this day, almost 20 years later, is the story that we're talking about here.
Wow. Well, why did you decide to make a film about this tragedy? I know that can take a toll on you just remembering it, and then you're putting it, for viewers.
Yeah. So, sorry. It's very interesting that no one had done a documentary on this topic, and it was a very big news cycle at the time. Of course, everywhere in the world, CNN. And I moved back from Los Angeles to raise my two girls. They were 1 and 3 years old at the time. And I woke up on February 21st, the morning after, and my wife and I just looked at the news. I was 20 minutes from the Station nightclub. I had moved back, and Rhode Island's a very small community. I just didn't know about the show. It wasn't promoted very well. I certainly would have went. So my background is in music video directing as when I started my career in the film business. And so having worked with a lot of those bands and understanding that genre and being from Rhode Island, I knew I just at some point had to tell the story. And amazingly enough, it was just never done. And I always thought about, my two girls just going through life without a father, like over 60 kids lost either a mother or a father that night. So it was a combination of those things.
Yeah.
Well, it's really heavy subject matter. And as you mentioned, coming from music videos, this had to be a tough switch, but you had to cover a lot of tough topics in this film. How did you approach the story?
I knew music was key. I wasn't going to do this without the theme of music, meaning, how important music is, what drove the fans to that little crappy club that night, because they were so passionate about this music, music that heals all of us. We go through emotional roller coaster rides every day. So I knew that had to be critical. John Bareilles, who wrote the book Killer Show, it was the civil attorney for the case, or one of the civil attorneys. He spent 7 years on the case and 3 years writing the book. So my approach was immediately go to John, make sure I had a factual foundation. There's so much controversy. There's so many unknown things. There's a lot going on with this story. So one of the most important things as an approach was to make sure that book was the foundation. Then on top of that, I could create the cinematic emotion and the people and bring everything to life and the music and, you know, everything that goes into the filmmaking aspect. So those were the two basic components. So it was a very hard project to convince people of. In the case of Jack Russell, who's the lead singer of Great White, people hold quite a bit of animosity toward him. But again, because of the music angle, you know, a lead singer who, you know, is he responsible? Is he not? And so I had to make sure Jack Russell was in this movie. And one of the reasons is it's called The Guest List. And, you know, it's hard to have a film called The Guest List without the person who created this guest list. And on that list were people that he invited to the show for free because he was being charitable and wanted people to come to the show. And it wound up being a death list, essentially.
Wow. And I know, like, with making films, there's so many different layers to making films. What David, were the revelations you uncovered making this film?
A lot of the revelations came in the book. You know, John did such an amazing job with the details. I could never get into those details. So I think the documentary and the book make a really good package, because people that see the documentary, I think, will be very affected for whatever reason in their own lives. They can relate. But if they do want to dig deeper into the things that happened, why it happened, you know, these crazy things that you hear, the revelations, if you will, a lot of that came as I became knowledgeable over my 7 years of the journey. But I think probably one of the biggest things is just how there has never been any closure, and just getting to know these families, you know, people that lost only children and people that lost their wives and their husbands. Just, this is never going to go away. And I guess you could apply that to almost any tragedy, but this one in particular really hit home because it's a very small community, and it was devastating to the community. So I think just when I became close to these people, realizing how much pain they still carry, how much injustice they still feel from a lot of the legal aftermath that came, was very eye-opening to me. So yeah, that was really important to make sure that the world knows what these people went through, and then they can relate it to their own lives.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the world, what do you hope viewers will take away from this film?
Well, you know, at a basic level, I think we all think about concerts and, you know, some of the recent, you know, concert tragedies that have happened. It's not going to stop. I mean, we're always going to have issues. But so I think at a basic level, just to think about basic things like where you are and your exits. And I mean, the whole point of going to a show is to have fun. You know, you don't want to be dwelling on these issues. But at the same time, you see what happens. You know, people can die. Just be conscious.
We've seen that even currently with concerts. So it's a good thing to be reminded of. How can people check out this film?
Yeah, so it's right now it's broadcast on Reels, the Reels channel, and primarily from the premiere through the next couple of months. I believe it's primarily on broadcast cable. So the Reels channel is carried by a number of cable carriers. And then I believe in a few months, there'll be streaming opportunities such as Amazon Prime, Roku, and streaming platforms that carry the Reels channel. And then we hope to have additional, you know, wider distribution too on additional products down the road.
Awesome.
So, thank you so much, David. We're really excited to see the film and all your work that went into it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
No problem.
And also, viewers in New England market will be able to watch the documentary right here on YurView this week. So don't forget to tune into that. Thanks again to David Bellino. And up next, there is a new museum coming to Southern Arizona. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quincy, we've been hearing more over the past few years about the importance of representation. The things we see around us in the media and our everyday lives, they shape the way we see the world.
That's right. And when Bob and Beverly Elliott became aware that there was no museum in Arizona dedicated to its African-American citizens and their heritage, they decided to start one themselves. How cool is that? Check this out.
Hi, I'm Bob Elliott. I'm the chair of the board of the African American Museum of Southern Arizona.
Hi, I'm Beverly Elliott, the executive director of the African American Museum of Southern Arizona, also known as AMSAS.
One of the questions we've received a lot is, why a museum? And our answer is, why not?
The first thing that we wanted to do is sit down with people in the community, but also some very intense stories. We wanted to find, what was going on here in 1950? What was happening? Had they integrated the schools? Had they not? So we got some of those stories. Also talking to some authors that are here in town. We have a few folks who've written books, and that has been a huge resource for us. Our youngest grandson, one of the things he said was, I'm supposed to do this report on an African-American person or hero. It's looking, nowadays kids know how to get on that tablet and look everything up. And he said, oh, Martin Luther King, oh, W.B. Du Bois, oh, and then he says, well, where are the people that live here? He said, well, you're helping people with a museum back in Michigan. Where's our museum? And so I told my grandson, I said, well, there's really not one place I can take you. And he said, well, Nanu, why don't you start a museum? We knew that if we just got this website up and going, it's a way for people to still learn a lot. It's a great resource to find information about African Americans and Black folks and our culture in Southern Arizona.
One of the things that we're really trying to stress is, besides fundraising, is friend raising. And so we thought about it and said, there's almost like three pockets that you're talking about. One pocket would be the business community. Then you have the individuals. You have the grassroots folks that want to be a part of it. Then you have the folks who have been fortunate enough to have the ability to make a major donation. So you kind of have those three different pockets of friend raising, and that's what we've been trying to stress as we move forward on this venture. One of the goals of our museum is to help educate students so they understand what happened in the past, but also looking at the bigger picture of creating a situation that you can have more Black students and staff and faculty here. Bring them up on campus. Bring these students up here. Enjoy the museum on the campus of the University of Arizona.
Quincy, what I love about Main Street Living is we always have doers on the show. People see a problem and they find a way to address it.
Yeah, and this was especially a great piece, when you consider their grandson. All right, their grandson was asking how he could hear about Black contributors to Black history right there in Southern Arizona, and that it caused them to be able to do something about it. Pretty cool.
That's all it took, just asking a good question, right? You can keep up with the latest happenings at the African American Museum of Southern Arizona on their website, aamsaz.org.
All right. Well, Danielle, now that we've started a trip down America's historic highway, up next, we're tuning up for some World War II trivia. That and much more after the break.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. Quick quiz. How many of you loved history in high school? If you said yes, then we have just the program for you.
Well, actually, Danielle, I think I would sleep a lot while in class. However, I did hear New Orleans, Louisiana is the home of the National World War II Museum, which hosts a history competition for high schoolers each year. So Colin Makinson is here to tell us all about it. Welcome to Main Street Living, Colin.
Oh, thank you both for having me. I'm really excited.
No problem. Well, Colin, let's start with the National Museum. Okay, here, the National World War II Museum. In fact, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. And compared to sort of the big national museums, the Smithsonian's of the world, we're sort of a new kid on the block, and we're also not in New York or D.C. or Chicago or L.A. We're right here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we opened on June 6th, D-Day. Of the year 2000, and we opened originally as the D-Day Museum, the National D-Day Museum, to tell the story of one day in the history of World War II, the D-Day landings in Normandy, France. And a few years after that, we received designation by Congress to be the nation's recognized National World War II Museum. So with that, we changed our name. We've also had to expand our mission, our campus, and our programs. We've been growing ever since, and so we had our 20th and 21st anniversary just a few years back. So we're ready to go, ready to party.
Oh, we're ready to party with you, but we know part of that party is that you offer a variety of educational programs at the museum. What can you tell us about those?
Sure. We have a great 6-acre physical campus that you can spend all day in, whether you're a teacher, a student, a tourist, a visitor. But we also want to exist beyond the walls of the campus. So a part of my job working in the education department is to make sure assets, artifacts, oral histories, resources are in the hands of teachers around the country and students. This is, it's the time is marching onward. It used to be World War II veterans were all around us. To talk to a veteran was very easy. And that time is rapidly coming to a close. So our mission is, hey, how do we keep World War II and the interest in the subject matter alive as we're 75, 80 years now removed from these events? So that's what we're challenged with. And it is challenging, but it's something I wake up and sort of excited with new ways that we can reach students or teachers with our programs.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. That's another thing that a lot of us are excited about too, is the annual high school quiz bowl, which has been going on for 18 years now. So why host a competition, and what is it like?
It's challenging for these students. It's more challenging for us to write hard questions because these kids. The great things of working with school aged students is they will tell you very straight to your face if something is too easy. And we've had a lot of these teams say, you got to make it harder. You got to make it tougher for it. So we hold an annual quiz bowl of teams of students from schools around the greater New Orleans area, some from neighboring states as well, to come and really sort of test their mettle to what they know about World War II. And it's not just battles, names, places, and dates. We try to make it really sort of expand what World War II is. Because World War II isn't just names, places, dates, and battles. It's social history and cultural history. What was happening on the home front? What was the state of, race relations and gender roles during World War II? So not just deer head stuff that a lot of students are interested in. So give them a more, clearer picture, a fuller picture of World War II. But it's a challenge every year coming up with find things these kids don't know because they know a lot.
You guys are really getting into the nitty gritty of it. Why is it so important for students to be familiar with the history of World War II?
I guess because World War II is one of the sort of the last universal experiences. 16 million Americans were volunteered or drafted to serve in World War II, but there were millions of others serving on the American home front. So everyone had some skin in the game. It's a really universal experience where everyone has someone in their family or knows someone in their family who did something during World War II. Maybe not on the battlefield, but back here at home as well. Again, as we get further away from the events of World War II, and we don't have that living link to connect students and teachers to the events of World War II, how do we keep World War II history in sort of the focus of these students' very busy curricular and extracurricular lives? So a lot of them really like doing quiz bowl, academic decathlon, whatever you want to call it. So we said, hey, let's make a World War II framework around it and see if we can get students to come. And they have been for almost 20 years. Which
is pretty exciting. What do you think the students actually get out of this competition besides a better understanding of World War II history?
I mean, it's a competition. It's definitely bragging rights. It's definitely saying that your team has sort of bested the field put out in front of you. But no, it's also having students who hopefully have a lasting relationship with the museum, where they may not go away being a World War II historian or expert. They can say, "Hey, I had a really great time at the museum during this event." Well, think of us, and 18 years down the line, maybe they'll bring their kids back for a visit.
Makes sense.
Of course. Who doesn't like a quiz? I mean, it's not nerve-wracking or anything, but obviously we're big fans of the Quiz Bowl. In fact, the preliminary round show is running now on YurView in Louisiana and Florida. And we'll also be televising the final round, of course, on March 10th. How are the teams preparing? Because like I said, this could be a little nerve-wracking.
In a variety of ways. They're meeting regularly. They're really sort of going through different categories with different individuals in these 3-person teams responsible for areas of the war or conflict. We put up on them. We try to look for things that maybe they wouldn't think about. I know one of the areas that we can typically mine for good questions is popular culture, movies and songs from the 1940s. That's not something that's on these students' radar. So if anyone's who's going to participate in the Quiz Bowl in the future is watching this, there's a free little hint of advice for you.
Nice, nice. Well, really quickly before we get out of here, how can viewers find more about the National World War II Museum education programs and the Quiz Bowl?
Yeah, to find out about all of our programs that we have on site, as well as things going on off site, our distance learning programs. We have a great partnership with Arizona State University, the American Battle Monuments Commission, really anything that you would want to know that's happening at the World War II Museum. You can visit www national www2, the number 2, not the Roman numeral, museum.org, and that'll be all at your fingertips.
Well, we're really excited for the quiz show. Thank you so much to Colin for joining us today.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to doing this again in the future.
That's right. And for our viewers in Louisiana and Florida, don't forget to tune in on March 10th at 8 p.m. to see which team will win the Quiz Bowl championship. And if you are not in those markets, the show will be on YurView YouTube channel on March 11th. So thank you so much again to Colin. And next up, we're going to be visiting with some next level cancer care. Welcome back into Main Street Living. Now, Quincy, hearing the news that you have cancer is one of the hardest things a person can experience. But if cancer does become part of your life, you want to be sure that you're getting the best and most advanced treatment available.
That's right, Danielle. Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute, they offer the latest in cancer fighting proton therapy, all while keeping the focus on you. Take a look.
There is no Proton Institute throughout the world that is as large and as most advanced as Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute. It's a fantastic place.
Since our founding, 1868, we've been trying to help people. We try to look out for people, look out for everyone, including the downtrodden. Even though we did not have a hospital or a medical school, we didn't need it because this is a self-contained unit. We've got physicians on the staff, we've got medical physicists, we've got nurses, we've got therapists, we've got people like that. And so those are the kinds of things that satisfy me when I think about this wonderful center, when I think about the people that are here, that come, who have faith and who have confidence in us, and we actually save their lives. Black men had a 72% higher incidence rate of prostate cancer than do white men. So one of the things that I say to Black and white men, they need to go to the doctor. They need to get checked. They need to let the physicians take their blood. They need to be able to get the physical examination so that they can see, because prostate cancer is 100% curable if you catch it in time.
Portsmouth has the highest death rate of prostate cancer in the state of Virginia. This being Black History Month, I think that they ought to, not only African Americans, but others too, should look at this building here as more like a shrine toward what HBCUs can do to help mankind. It's not a Black thing nor a white thing, it's a health thing. After what I went through here, and with no erectile dysfunction, no incontinence, no other side effects, I feel like I am Lawrence Davis 2.0. The old version is gone and the better and improved version is here. We've got a mecca of a place here that solves problems, takes care of your cancer, and also takes care of you mentally and emotionally when you walk through those doors. If I didn't have these glasses on, you'd probably see tears rolling out my eyes right now, because I'm so thankful of what they have done for me and for others too.
Wow, Daniela, this is the largest institute of its kind in the world. And I also love the fact this program is at a historically Black college university, HBCU, right here in our backyard, Hampton, Virginia.
So cool. And you can find more information at hamptonproton.org.
That's right. Straight ahead, still more of Main Street Living up next.
Welcome back into Main Street Living one last time here, Quincy. And of course, we are still really missing our co-host Cheryl and hope to see her back soon.
That's right. We definitely miss you, Cheryl. And don't forget, viewers, you can catch all of our shows on our Cox Contour app.
That's right. And there's new episodes every Monday at 9, wherever you are at.
Yeah, so we'll see you right back here once again next time for another exciting show on Main Street.